I'm Shashi.
And I'm Jeff.
We're the organizers of Portland Startup Weekend.
Our next event's coming up April 27th through 29th, and we'd love to see you there.
Check us out at portland.startupweekend.org.
I'm Jeri Alcock. I'm the founder of GoodWorks Now. And GoodWorks Now provides a platform of cloud-based applications that help nonprofits manage their revenue, board engagement, and online reputation.
How did you get started?
I became inspired to start our company because the business of running a nonprofit business has become increasingly more complex. So you have social media, a proliferation of watchdog organizations and third-party rating sites. And nonprofits are particularly not equipped to deal with managing that. So now more than ever, revenue and reputation are inextricably linked. So our platform addresses that by helping you to manage what's being said in the cloud. If it's said in the cloud, GoodWorks Now is hearing it and it's reflecting it back to you, so you can manage your reputation and thereby manage your fundraising.
Could you describe the typical customer that you will be going after?
That's a great question. To understand our market, I think it's important to understand what the nonprofit sector is. So many people think of charities like food banks or shelters when they think of the nonprofit sector. And that is a specific subset of the nonprofit sector. So of the 1.4 million nonprofit organizations in our nation, that's just a subset. So there's also economic development organizations, healthcare, higher education. There's business associations, software associations, bankers associations, trades groups. So the sector is extremely diverse, and it's also a very powerful component of the economy, and that's the opportunity that we saw in the market. So our products are currently in development, and we are seeking organizations in the Portland area to interview with us and be testers of the products before we launch in May. So if for any of our nonprofit friends that might be watching this, please contact us at info@goodworksnow.com.
How did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
I guess I've always had an entrepreneurial streak. I remember when I was young, I didn't like doing the 9-to-5 jobs. I found them dull and boring. And I also found that I was an employee that was, I like to speak the truth, and that doesn't always go over well. So I'm sort of going off now, but I think, you know you're an entrepreneur if you imagine things that others can't see. And when you start to tell them about that, they sort of think you're crazy. And then you finally grow up and realize that there's a place for you in the world to be imaginary, and that's vision for a business. And then that's a very reassuring thing to finally find your place.
How did you decide to pick your co-founder?
Well, picking a co-founder is not easy. Mark and I have known each other for 7 years. We're actually neighbors. And we work together intensely, as everyone does at Startup Weekend. It's an intense experience. And it gave us the opportunity to work together and test out that working partnership, which was really, really helpful. Soon after Startup Weekend, that's really when we started to get traction. And we knew right away we wanted to go for the seed fund, and that was a good runway for us. So it really all started with Startup Weekend.
How did you decide to go with the Portland Seed Fund?
Well, I have to say I followed the stories in the Oregonian from the first class, and I was inspired by some of the women entrepreneurs that went through that, Amber and Sheetal, and the stories that I read and how they developed their businesses, and really the support that Seed Fund gave them to do that. So as someone crossing over into a whole new industry without existing contacts, that ecosystem and being part of Seed Fund is it's incredibly helpful in getting traction.
What advice do you have for budding entrepreneurs?
Don't sit on your dream. Go tell people about it. Take it to Startup Weekend. pitch it, pitch to people, get feedback, and see if you have something. I sat on my idea for 2.5 years before I moved on it, and that was a mistake. I lost time, I lost traction. We're kicking along right now, but I would just really encourage people, don't wait, jump in and do it. The worst thing that can happen is you might fail, but some of the best lessons I've learned has come from failure.